I'm Marilyn. We're on the road. We're in New York. I don't know exactly how we got here, what put us here. Something about a virus or that I went viral. If that's all it takes to get a trip to New York, I may go viral more often. We walked into the Grand Forks Airport, and usually they're rather impersonal, but this morning people seemed more friendly than ever. And they were asking me where I was going, and a couple of them asked me for my autograph. And the people, when we went through security, they said, wished that I'd have a good time in New York. They all knew who I was and where I was going. I felt kind of like the Queen of Sheba. And I was sitting there thinking about the look of boredom on the faces of some people who work for the airlines. They seem really bored with their jobs. It's very rare you see any of them smile. But I suppose I'd get tired of smiling too if I was in that line of work. So I was so happy to be traveling with a multimedia developer for Forum Communications, because when I stepped off the airplane in Minneapolis, there he was, Marilyn Hagerty. I'd never met him. We together found the way to the carts, and the 20 minutes or so I had to get to the flight to New York was, we made it. It wasn't really tough. Actually, it's kind of fun to travel like that. As I stepped out of the LaGuardia Airport, is kind of scroungy looking. It's not new and shiny like the airport in Denver, even like the airport in Minneapolis, but it's busy, and it seems like it's kind of old and it's crowded. And we stepped out in the street, and I said, New York, here we come. There were seas of yellow cabs, the New York taxis, the garbage stacked up on the sidewalk. It was all just so New York, so much fun to be here. You got to be calm if you're going to be driving in this kind of traffic and with all these kinds of people. Well, actually, it's a lot more people than you see on South Washington Street in Grand Forks, maybe in 5 nights in a row. So we'd had the short turnaround time, and we were out on the street again. We were on our way for an interview at the New York Times. The New York Times, so exciting to me. I've eaten a lot of things, but never a dirty water hot dog. So with photographers following me and with the reporter watching me, I ate this hot dog. I can see where if you were really hungry, you might want one of those hot dogs, but I don't think it's something that I would yearn for. But it was all right. It was long, but it was not really too hot. And the onion in kind of a tomato sauce was strange, interesting. Anyway, I chomped down the hot dog with people taking pictures and New Yorkers looking at me. A few of them maybe knew what it was all about. The rest of them probably just thought I was some hayseed from out west someplace. It doesn't really matter what people think, because there's just too much else to think about when you're in New York, because we had a chance to go inside the New York Times. I always thought I'd write for the New York Times, but something happened on the way, and I ended up at the Grand Forks Herald. And I'm not sorry about that. If I had it to do over again, after seeing the New York Times, I would still prefer to work for the Grand Forks Herald, because it's a little more peaceful. We had dinner at the Dovetail in New York. We had a long, leisurely dinner with probably 10 courses, and the courses were minute, but they were perfect. Every single service, all the servings were small. We went away feeling very satisfied, but not stuffed. We certainly weren't going to do anything like take a doggy bag home, because everything was just right. I was saying it was probably the best restaurant meal that I've ever had. It will be interesting to see what 3-star restaurant has over a one-star restaurant. Somehow, to me, most restaurants are restaurants,